Hi, I am back today with another video about British versus American English and some things that are a little different and quirky about our two different languages. If you're new to my channel, hello, I am Dara, and my husband Ian and I live in North Texas for part of the year and in Gloucestershire for part of the year. My husband's a dual citizen, so in my 31 years of being married to him, I've heard a lot of British things, and we've traveled extensively to Britain and now live there for part of the year. So I keep a list of interesting words and phrases that when I hear them, I think, wow, I didn't know it meant that in Britain. And it's one of those things when someone uses the word, sometimes you want to say, I do not think it means what you think it means, which for those of you who are fans of The Princess Bride, you know what I'm talking about.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
So I have a list of several words that I want to talk about that either mean kind of the opposite on opposite sides of the pond, or at least have a kind of positive versus negative connotation in our two countries. So let's get into it and let me know your thoughts. If you disagree with my opinions, let me know. Or if any of these are surprising or new to you, let me know that too. I'm always interested to know what I'm sharing that people didn't already know. I'm going to start off with my favorite one. And I think I actually might have mentioned this in one of the very first videos that I filmed here on this gray couch in front of this gray wall 4 years ago when I started my YouTube channel. And that is the word homely. When I was looking to find lodging in England for one of our trips, and we're on Airbnb and we're reading all the descriptions of places to stay, and I'm reading these descriptions and people are using the word homely to say, oh, this was a great place. It was so homely and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, homely? Homely means ugly. It is a very pejorative word. You would never in the States use homely to describe something that you wanted to be a praising, complimentary description. So that really cracked me up, because in the UK, to say something is homely means it's like home. So when you go stay at a flat for an Airbnb stay, the fact that it's homely means it's just like home. It's very comfortable and you will like it there. Whereas when you describe, usually people are described as homely in the US, and it means they're ugly. So that one really cracked me up. Another thing, this is really more of an Airbnb description thing as well, and it's kind of a connotation. So stick with me on this, and some of you won't agree with me, I'm sure, but this is my impression. If I'm looking through descriptions of places to stay in the US and something is described as cozy, it means, to me, it would mean that it's comfortable. Like, oh, this cabin is cozy. It has comfortable furniture, a soft sofa to sit on, it has blankets, it's warm enough. Maybe it has a fire. A fire is very cozy. So that's what cozy means. It's like, it's all positive vibes. What I've discovered by reading descriptions on booking.com or Airbnb for British places to stay is cozy, spelled with an S, of course, instead of a Z, is often a euphemism for really tiny and cramped. So I've learned when a cottage is described as cozy in Britain, I need to be on alert that's probably gonna be really small. So to me, that's kind of an opposite in its connotation. Another word that I don't understand. So British people, you need to explain this to me. To an American, the word saloon is an old-timey word that we used back in the Wild West to describe a bar that would be on that main street running through the middle of town where the man in the white hat and the black hat would have a shootout at high noon. The bar that you would have on that main street where people would go to get a beer and they would have their barroom brawls, that is a saloon. We never use the word saloon in 2023 America to describe things, but in Britain, I've heard this word used. It's definitely some type of a room in a house, I think. And is it also a car? I don't know. You guys need to explain this saloon thing to me because I'm completely confused by it. I just know that when I hear it as an American, I always think about the Wild West, and it means something totally different to y'all. The next word is dummy. Anytime an American hears the word dummy, that is just very insulting, a very negative word. And the fact that in Britain, it just means a pacifier for a baby, that's kind of funny to me, because if a mom of a baby is looking around frantically for her baby's pacifier and is saying, "Where is that dummy?" An American sitting by might be like, "That's a really rude thing for her to say." So that's one I definitely needed to include in my opposite list. Okay, here's another one that's really fun, because this is one of those nuance words that I never heard when I was just a tourist visiting Britain for a week or two each year. But now that I started living in England, I've heard this word a lot. And I think it's so funny because we never use it in this way in the States. And it's the word fresh. In the US, fresh is a good word, especially when it's used to describe baked goods or fruits and vegetables. It means they're fresh and delicious and wonderful. And of course, in Britain, it would mean the same thing. Now, getting fresh with someone is kind of a cheeky, scandalous word. I don't know if you have that connotation in Britain for the word fresh. Do you use that word, say getting fresh with someone? Anyway, the way that Brits use the word fresh that I've never heard in the States is to mean a cold day. If you go outside and it's a nippy day, it is just cold and blustery, and maybe unexpectedly so, you go outside and you're like, "Oh, it's quite fresh out here." And your face gets red and you're shivering. Say, "Oh, it's rather fresh." Almost like an understated way of saying it's pretty dang cold. I've never heard that use in the US. So again, I feel like it's kind of an opposite thing of fresh is a good word in the US, and it means too dang cold in the UK. The next word is a controversial one, which I think I might have mentioned in a video years ago as well, and it's the word fag. If a British person said, "I'd like to bum a fag," to an American, that would be a very bad thing. It would just, that America would be like, "What? You said what?" We do not use the word fag to mean cigarettes. So if you are British, just be aware of that. If you are around any Americans, that's really not a good word to use. And frankly, I'm not sure it should be used in Britain anymore either to describe cigarettes. So either stop smoking or don't use that word. That's my advice to you. The other very strange word with a really different meaning is faggot. While we're on that topic, I think Americans know the word faggot has an archaic meaning of sticks, a bunch of sticks that you might use to make a fire or something, but we don't use that word anymore because it is such a derogatory term for a group of people. Americans do not use that word at all if you are a polite person. So when I go to the market in Cheltenham and I go to the butcher's stall and I see amidst all the fresh meats and sausages that they have faggots for sale, I'm like, that is just crazy that y'all are calling those meatball things faggots. Very interesting. I don't think butchers in the US, even if they made whatever those are, would use that name. I don't think that'd go over well. Whether you live in Britain or you live in the US, let me know if someone from the other side of the pond has ever said something to you that has made you go, "Say what? What did you just say?" That has caught you aback, caught you off guard, something that I haven't mentioned so far. I have thought many times, how on earth did British people end up calling erasers rubbers, and then American people decide to call condoms rubbers? Those are two very different things, and the fact that that common word is used in such different ways on different sides of the pond, did someone think that would be a funny joke to play? Because that's kind of a weird one. So let me know what examples you have of words that have shocked or surprised you from your cousins across the pond. And to round this out, let's just talk about a couple things that Americans in particular do that are kind of opposite in what they say and what they mean. So here's an example. The younger generation, like my sons, have a tendency, if you offer them something and they don't want it, instead of saying, no, if I say, would you like a piece of pie? Instead of saying no or no, thank you, they say, I'm good. The fact that using good to mean no is weird to me, and it's also like, it's not super annoying. I'm not like massively peeved about this. I don't have my undies in a bunch. I don't have my knickers in a knot, but it's just be polite and say no, thank you. Don't say I'm good. When my sons say that to me, I usually say, I'll tell you if you're good. The last one, I want to give credit to French comedian Gad Elmaleh for this one. I saw it in a hilarious video of his on YouTube where he was talking as a French speaker about some of the things he thought were interesting that Americans say that mean opposite. And as he put it, the fact that we say, I'm down, again, this is kind of a young person's slang. If you ask someone, do they want to do something? And they say, I'm down. That doesn't mean they're depressed. It doesn't mean they're sad. It means they're up for it. So if someone says, I'm down, that means they're up for it. So that was a nice, funny one I thought I would use to end my silly little list of American and British opposite words or opposite meanings or connotations. Let me know if you can think of any other examples or which of these examples you thought was the funniest or was new to you or that you disagree with. I know I'll get lots of disagreements because I always do. But I really appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed the video and do something good in the world today.